the painters in his orbit, you know. So, and we talk a lot. So he felt that it would be perhaps worthy of me to just say some things about painting, you know. That's not to take away from sportscasters or actors or anybody else opening shows, and that's great, you know, and that's fine. But a painter talking about another painter might be interesting, you know. And Geraldine, as a painter, this might be interesting. Joe, I know you do a lot of things about aesthetics and things, and Des, you paint as well, and Darren, you're very creative. So everybody here probably has a stake in why does one get up in the morning and not go to Intel and make squishy, boggy things? You know, why do we do this? You know, and what solaces do we find in it? So I've been in the studio, I've spoken innumerable times to him about art matters. So what I wanted to talk to you about is, like, what do artists sitting around talk do? And like, what does that look like? So, I mean, Leonard is such a fine maker of paintings. It's not about description per se. It's about how marks are emotionally registering with his experience of being in the world, in light, in atmosphere, as a human being, walking through time, walking through space. Now, these paintings, somewhere city paintings, like, what is that about? Like, it's not Amsterdam, and it's not Dublin, or maybe it's Skerries, maybe it's Skerries, but, I mean, I'm in the position to tell you kind of what he's thinking. So, I mean, I kind of feel privileged to sort of talk about it, but, I mean, he's very interested in the gritty decay of things. Like, behind the veneer of what exists, our bodies. Sure, we're beautiful. Sure, we're handsome. Sure, we're getting old. Sure, we're creaky. Sure, we're in the grave. We know that all of this is temporal. It's all kind of fleeting. And so somehow in Leonard's paintings, he acknowledges in the clash of wills between will to beauty and will to truth. Like, the truth is, it's all going to effing shit. You know? Sorry to swear in front of the troll. Sorry. It's all going messy, you know? And so, nature's hidden underlying presentations involve growth, yet they also involve utter desolation, you know? So he talks about this stuff. He does. And it's very philosophical. His mother knew tons of poetry. He knows all the poets. He knows you driving along and suddenly he's got the best Yeats quote for what just happened. He knows loads about philosophy and poetry and aesthetics. And it's deep, you know. So his work is about an emotional register. He wants his marks to be responses not just to his experience of seeing, but also what's happening inside. So to some people, these paintings just seem very busy and not very coherent. But if you actually spend time with them, you enter into the spaces of them. And, you know, what happens is it's getting at the ever-changing nature of things. Like, I mean, if I think about New York City, and I go back to New York City, I lived there for 20 years, and I go back to my neighborhood, and it's the neighborhood of, like, Die Hard, with Bruce Willis trying to get downtown, you know. And that city that I know does not exist. I mean, the restaurants have changed, the buildings have gone higher, everything is bleeding different. And so somewhere city is somewhere somehow getting at that, you know? And I would be in the studio going, Jesus, Leonard, you know, these are so indeterminate, they're so boggy, they're so this, and he would explain, and it would become clear. So it is about the frailty of our experience. And that also within that frailty, we have this moment in the sun. We're standing, we're all lucky to be standing, and the resilience is there too. The buildings are going up. Like, I mean, there's structures that are being formed here. Or in this case, they actually look like they're about to sort of putter out. So he's recognizing that in our days, that most of us spend in these boxed up cities, and we're all boxed up. We're all lemmings walking over the cliff. We are. Artists somehow are outside of that. Lemmings walking over the cliff. We choose, as artists, to reflect something different. We choose to find solace in how our expressions and our ideas come out. So that might be some sort of exchange with a bit of argy-bargy But after seeing the work, here's exactly what I would do with Leonard if we were trading ideas in the studio. And he doesn't know I'm going to do this, but I mean, yeah, he knows poetry and philosophy and stuff, but I might like music. He likes Dante. He likes this, that, and the other thing. So we go back and forth, light, heat, fire, disintegration, growth, blah, 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 regeneration. And then I might say to Leonard, and this is maybe why he hates my art sometimes, and sometimes he likes me, is that George Braque, and Joe, you might know this, George Braque with Picasso, when they were talking about Cubism, they didn't want a Renaissance picture. They didn't want to be making a stage set. They basically saying, and if Deirdre came out here, Deirdre, this is Deirdre, but this is also Deirdre, and this is also Deirdre, and this is also Deirdre, in space. Sorry to embarrass you. But that's Deirdre. There she is. So Picasso and Braque were basically saying you could paint her arse, and you could paint her breast, and you could paint her cheek, and you could paint her this way. And basically it's time. It's not Renaissance space. But Braque was the more of the poet than Picasso, and Picasso didn't really speak French well when they were working on Cubism. And Braque basically was saying, an orange is not an orange. And this is what I'd say in the studio to him. It's like, what are you talking about, Braque? Orange is not an orange. An orange is not an orange when you put it next to a lemon. Now that sounds strange. Why is an orange not an orange? Anybody, when it's next to a lemon? Anybody? Why is an orange not an orange when it's next to a lemon? Anyone? This is Braque now. This is the founder of modern art. Why is an orange not an orange next to a lemon? And Leonard would probably sit there going, shut up, Newton. And I'd say, because they're fruit. Now that sounds stupid, I know. But when you put it into the context of a mark like that, Leonard is a collagist. He is collaging things. So this painting without that brush mark is a different painting. So this brush mark as a collision or as a disruption or as a decay mark is where modernism is. It's basically saying, yeah, we're in this, and there's many different ways to look at a city or a body or anything. That's the way that it goes. So Leonard would hear me say that, and we'd get back into sort of arguments. So his cancellations are the adding of a lemon to make it fruit. Those cancellations are where this type of painting is. It's not descriptive painting. It's not about the surface of things. It isn't. Let's be honest. It is not about the surface of things. It's not really descriptive surfaces. But what else is it? What is it? And I'll say, okay, so we might argue back and forth. And then I might say, Leonard, these paintings to me are more like a Stevie Wonder song. And we've listened to this song. It's called Higher Ground. And in it, and I'm not a singer, and this is why I paint maybe, but it kind of goes like this. People, everybody help me. Keep on learning. You know that one? Come on. Soldiers. Soldiers. Keep on warring. You know that one? Come on, Geraldine. You got it. World. Keep on turning. 'Cause it won't be too long. So, in a way, this is the visual equivalent of the fact that everything is falling into crap and is turning into something else. The world just keeps on turning. It's a somewhere city. That's what it is. It's a somewhere city. So, and that's where you are, bud. That's where you are. You're trying to think about the honesty of things. It's not just a descriptive thing. It's about something philosophical. And, and when I go around cities, I actually, in the blur of my eye, could actually imagine that things are as blurry as that. When you don't have your glasses or something off in the distance, that could well be, I went to Amsterdam in the spring, and that could be Amsterdam. And then again, that could be Portugal at night. But what's cool about it, as you live with the Leonard Sexton, and I collect them, on top of being, thinking he was one of the finest Irish painters that is here, honestly. And I have a master's in art and art education and another master's. I know kind of a lot about art. He is one of your finest painters here. Absolutely. And so when I say to him, that's what's going on in your paintings, it's Stevie Wonder, it's the same as when he paints women or children or whatever else he's painting. There's elation at the flesh. Yeah, gosh, women are beautiful. Gosh darn. But then, at the same time, there's torment at the recognition that we're all frail and that things are puddly mess. Like we're all, I mean, I was never pretty to begin with, pockmarked, old beat up surface, you know. But he doesn't want to show us the surfaces. He wants to show it turning. So those emotional marks and those cancellations and questions and lemons and oranges throughout this are asking you to recognize, as Stevie would say, that it ain't going to be too long. It ain't going to be too long. Because what, everybody? World, come on, help me. Keep on turning. So that's what we're talking about, right? So, all right, so I want to thank you again for coming out on the Six Nations Day and for the launch of these wonderful works by Leonard. His visual poetry is here. The poetry that his mother taught him. And are there poetic landscapes? They're not like your typical stuff. But I promise you, these are paintings that could be lived and breathed with. And, you know, back to all of this. They're fine works. They're replying to our experience. They're evolving, changing, disintegrating. And, you know, thanks again, you know, for listening to this.